from Cedarburg Public Library Radio. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cedarburg Public Library podcast. We're talking with Nick Petrie today, a best-selling author of the Peter Ash thrillers, including The Drifter, which has major Milwaukee ties, I would say. And so he's not just a national name, he's one of our own. And we're thrilled that Nick is the featured author for this year's Cedarburg Reads event. I'm sure you've heard the headlines: acclaimed series, heart-pounding action, glowing reviews. But we're going to dig deeper here on this podcast.
Uh-oh.
We're going to...
Yeah,
and we'll get to the nuts and bolts of the writer's life, and maybe even what would happen if Peter Ash opened a food truck. I don't know if he does any of those books, but we'll find out. Nick, welcome. Let's get into it.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. I'm a big fan of the Cedarburg Library, and I'm really looking forward to this.
Oh, thank you so much. Absolutely. So, and I should also introduce Jack. That's Jack Henke. He's all over these podcasts all the time. And no matter how many
I ask the hard questions. Bare knuckles.
No matter how many
minutes. Sense of how this is going to go.
Nick, here's hard question number one. The first question I always start with any guest on any podcast of any subject is:
don't do it.
Crunchy or creamy?
Peanut butter?
Yes.
Oh, crunchy all the way.
Yes.
All the way.
Yes. One of my people. You wouldn't believe how
not
many...
even a question.
All right. You wouldn't believe how many sad, creamy people are walking around this planet. It's just terrible. God. And it's very appropriate to ask you about peanut butter, because I have a complaint to lodge with you, because you and Jim Harrison, whom I love, Robert B. Parker, and Robert Crace, all four of you guys, I can't read your books without getting hungry. I'm starving all the time. I end up, I'm on this great plane of eating well and doing all this stuff, and all of a sudden you guys come in with a story where food isn't the main thing, but holy mackerel, it sounds great no matter how you make it, and the character makes it.
Well, I'm a big fan of all those other writers, for sure. Robert Crace in particular was a big influence on me, and I'm kind of amazed that he and I are now friends, which is one of the wonderful things about sort of the writing career, is the people you get to meet along the way. Very
cool. Did you moderate his when he was at Boswell Books? Was that you? Yes, I thought so. Yeah, I was there. That was the first initiation to Crace that I had. Is it Crace or Craze? I think it's Craze. Craze. Yeah, that was really good. And you both have a huge love of Mexican food, which just drives me insane too, because I love that. So very excellent. I also noted that you're from Shorewood.
Yeah.
Shorewood High School. How did you end up at the University of Michigan?
Both my parents went there. They met there. My grandfather went there. My grandfather's brother went there. And since I was there, now my niece has gone there as well. So, and I think my neighbor's daughter is heading that way, if I can have anything to do with it. So it was just kind of in my blood. My son, for my parents' 50th wedding anniversary, learned to play Hail to the Victors on the tuba.
Oh.
And was accompanied by a jazz band. So
nice.
Yeah, my dad especially was the sports fanatic of the family, but
happens all the time.
Yeah.
We're a publicly funded building, so
see, we start talking about Michigan, stuff just happens. No, that's very cool. I've never been. I've heard nothing but great things about the city, the area, a lot of great things. But then you got your MFA from University of Washington,
yep.
Which my sister is married to a Husky alum. She lives out in Tacoma, Washington, and is a judge out there. So do you consider yourself more of a Wolverine or a Husky?
Oh, more of a Wolverine. I spent more time there, and I have the family connection. But I love the UW. It was a great place to get a master's degree, and I spent 10 years living in Seattle. So
beautiful area.
I have a lot of friends there still, and a real love of that place. The new book, actually, part of it is set in Tacoma, and part of it is set in Seattle. So the book that comes out in March, which is called The Dark Time.
Mm-hmm.
So you might pass that along.
Yes, very much so. But Bulldog, that's what we call Jeff, was right on about it. Felt like I was going back in time through some of the great places around Milwaukee that you had written about in the book. It was great. It was you made the book come alive with your writing. It was excellent.
Well, each of the books takes place someplace different, and for me, one of the challenges is I want that setting to really feel like a character. And the thing that it doesn't keep me up so much anymore, but in the early years, it really kept me awake to sort of think, okay, I want someone who lives in Memphis or Denver or Seattle to really feel like I know their place, like I know what it's like, and it still is one of the challenges. I'm writing now about DC, and I've been there 5 or 6 times, and I'm still I've got friends there, so I need to make some phone calls and make sure I'm doing the right thing to buy the city. So
that's got to be a strange thing because you're basically a tourist with a typewriter because you don't live there. So what do you have a process when you go into these new settings? Like, what do you look for first? Are you going to the corner bars, which is probably the best way to learn about a place? So how do you do that?
I like really bad neighborhoods because most of I write crime fiction, so right. I often will tour some pretty sketchy neighborhoods. But I kind of go in wide open. I usually go someplace when I'm a third of the way through a book, halfway through a book, so I kind of know what I want to happen, but I need the feeling, right? I need the feel of the place, and so I just sort of go in pretending I know nothing, and I've already done a bunch of research before I show up, but just sort of, what does it smell like? What do I, what do you notice? That in Memphis, the thing that really got me was there are these, I think they're tulip trees, these huge, gorgeous trees that line these streets. And when I was there, the blossoms had all fallen. They're these huge, blossoms, and they were rotting in the gutters, and that sort of very evocative sort of rotting perfume smell was really, that was kind of what that was kind of a metaphor for that whole book. So there's always something that you don't get by looking up stuff online. You really have to go.
Right. And right now I'm in Burning. Well, I read the Drifter. Now I'm reading Burning Brighter, and the fog. I can feel the fog. I feel like it's sunny today, but I still am feeling the fog. Again, your fault. So thank you. I can't. It's like he's trying to climb the tree to get above the fog. I think that's just fantastic how you can bring that in. You make me feel it, man. I'm not happy about it, but
that is the goal: is to engage all your senses, right? So there's something that writing teachers talk about, which is to really, you want to literally write something that will, that will engage every sense. So we all talk about how things look or how things sound, but how does it smell? How does it feel to the touch? And again, I write about food. Peter's an eater, and I'm an eater, and those are great sort of moments to show character where he's doing something, but he's not, having a fight. He's not, trying to figure something out. He's just existing. And so that's one of the goals of every writer, and I'm glad I'm having that effect on you, Jay.
Oh, yeah, no question about it.
Just existing is sometimes a problem for Peter Ash.
Oh sure. Well,
there's a lot of people who'd rather who are would like otherwise, I think. So speaking of which, can we dial it back to the beginning here? And obviously we're doing that here with Cedarburg Reads. Did you write The Drifter with the intent of a series? Did you have future books, or did you just sit down and say, I'm focusing on this? Or did it feel, when does one decide, like, oh, this could be a series? This is where I want a shelf of Peter Ash books one day.
I never thought the book would get published. I'd written 3 books that I couldn't get published previously, although I'd gotten a little farther along in every process. And then the last one was really heartbreaking because I'd found an agent, and I'd found an editor who was interested in a book, and then the financial crash hit, and the bottom was falling out of all the financial markets, and nobody in publishing was gonna risk buying a book from some schmo from Wisconsin they'd never heard of.
That's
so
my
I
excuse.
just So I did what I usually do when I'm in a bad mood, is a little sledgehammer therapy. I tore out my kitchen and down to the studs. I used to be a renovation contractor, so that's fun for me. But I had these customers. At the time, I was working as a home inspector. So if you bought a house, you'd hire a guy like me to tell you what was wrong with it. And I had these customers who were coming home from war, and I started talking to them, and I started thinking about what that might be like. And I was watching the financial collapse, from a very close-up view, because I was inspecting foreclosures, and I was watching the sheriffs carry people's stuff out of their houses and stack them along the curbs, which is what happens in Wisconsin. And this book just sort of took shape, right? All of those things I was interested in and angry about, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I just was doing something for me. I was writing a book that I wanted to read.
Yeah.
Excellent. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Oh, and then my wife just at a certain point said, I'm sick of you talking about this, either shut up or put it in the mail. And so that's what I did. And then to your question about series, I had a whole different next book in mind. I was partway into it. And my agent said, "Oh no, they want the next Peter Ash."
Nice.
And
Excellent.
I'm working on Peter Ash number 10 right now. So.
Yeah,
excellent. Yeah,
that's great.
In reading The Drifter, the way you talked, I knew you had some carpentry and construction by the way you described it. I also thought incorrectly that you had served, because it was amazing to me. I have not served in any of the armed services, but you certainly, I didn't know until your notes afterward that you found, you researched and you talked to people. I'll be damned. I thought for sure you were a war veteran, for sure. You really was authentic.
Pretty eloquent on that topic.
Yes.
Well, that's the goal, right? The goal is to inhabit this character and to, I now know many, many people who have been through what Peter has been through, and I'm super grateful that the feedback I get is, how did you know what it feels like? How did you know? And it's just because I keep having these conversations with folks, and not everybody wants to, share that stuff. It's pretty intimate stuff, but I get stuff now, less in person, but a lot of stuff online. Somebody will send me something talking about how that first book especially really sort of meant something to them, or showed them, kind of the one that really sticks in my mind is I got a picture on Facebook Messenger of a guy in his dress uniform with his wife and his 3 little kids. And the message was, before I was trying to figure out the best way to kill myself, and then somebody gave me your book.
Wow.
And I got some help, and I'm doing much better today, and I just wanted to thank you.
That's great.
And to see him with his family, right? That's an entirely unintended consequence of writing these books, is that I now I get these messages, every couple of weeks now.
Wow.
From readers, and people will grab me at a book event and say, I have post-traumatic stress, and that book really triggered me. And I'm so sorry. He's like, no, because it's a way to process.
Yeah.
So I wanted to write a book that was fast and fun to read and exciting and all those things. But the best thing about crime fiction is that it can also be about something, right? Yeah. We're looking at society, and that's part of the goal.
Absolutely. Yeah. Jack and I are both in our local writers group here that we have at the library, and it's interesting that the type, and I think it will be to them as well, the type of people that you're writing about, these are not always good people. And to inhabit that for as long as it takes to write a novel, does that ever kind of get to you? Like, you're dealing with some of the, again, people who have less than people's best interests in mind.
Well, part of what I try to do with a villain is to show their humanity, because to have somebody who's just a cackling supervillain, to me that's not super interesting. I mean, that's a cartoon of a human being. And so my goal is to show you kind of why people are making these decisions and why they're not.
No, sure.
But I do have characters, and I mean, some books are darker than others, for sure. And those books are, my job is to, like I say, kind of inhabit those characters and fall into that world. And sometimes that world gets pretty dark, and that can be challenging.
Yeah.
But then I have books that are more pure fun, and some of those villains. There's a guy named Mr. Cheerful who you meet the first time you meet him. He's got an axe in his hand. To do somebody like him was just so much fun.
Yeah.
Because they're all, we all have those sides to us, right? Well, we all have sides of, we don't want to, obey the rules, or we're stuck in traffic, or there's, I try hard not to fall into road rage, but it's really easy to there are many opportunities for that. Or just
you're talking to the.
I've never experienced road rage myself, so
I don't drive with him anymore.
You kind of lost.
Have you been arrested for it? Or
I can't relate. So you kind of lost me on that one, Nick. But I do have a question about process. In one of your interviews that I read or listened to, you had said, interesting, because Bulldog and I were just talking about this last week. You don't use an outline. Is that right? Right. And you said you start with a situation. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's what. Yeah. And Bulldog, you are a true outline guy, right? Because
I became one. I'm a plantser, as they say. I do a little pantsing. I do a little outlining. So it's a weird happy medium that's not very happy sometimes.
But I think this is what a lot of people do, though. A lot of writers, we think of ourselves as one thing or another, but really, I mean, I'm a pantser, as they say, writing by the seat of my pants. Yeah. Until I have to really know more. Wait, I thought you were wearing
pants. I thought you weren't wearing pants. Wait a minute. Hey, what's going on around here?
My pants are across the room. It's at the seat of those pants. Yeah.
This is good journalism. Good journalism.
Excellent follow-up, Jack.
I was listening.
That's what he's here for.
OMG. But so then I have to figure out, I need to know more. So I have to sort of work ahead a little bit. And I do that until I can just sort of go with the flow again, until I need to know a little bit more again. So right now I'm in the last third of a book, and I'm like, man, I gotta take this thing apart. I gotta think about how it's gonna work. And I know I want to hit these points, but I don't know how they relate to each other. So it's always a little bit of everything. But the beginning of the book, all I have is a very vague idea.
Have you written yourself into any corners that you've had to hit the delete key 4,000 times or more?
Every single book.
Every single book.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just sort of
part of the game,
part of the package. Yeah. I have said that my writing process is the least efficient writing process, except for everything else I've tried. It's very messy. It's sometimes it's incredible fun when things are rolling, when the scenes are unfolding, but then there are weeks, or in the case of the book I'm on now, a couple of months where I'm just banging my head against the wall, being like, okay, now what am I missing? How do I? So it's a process.
All those things get untwisted for me in the shower, and my kids all know I'm having writing problems because I'm on my fourth or fifth shower that day. So
Dad's stuck. He's clean this week.
Exactly.
And that's another thing. I could feel my own BO when I was reading about Peter Ash and the lack of showers. I was like, God, as I'm reading, I'm like, I can feel this, man. This is really
that's the goal. That's the goal.
That's very cool. One of the things I really loved about The Drifter, of which there are many, I'm a quote-aholic. I just love quotes. And I grabbed a quote that you didn't even mean as a quote, but I think it applies to anything in life. And it was early on, and I marked the page right away. On page 11, it's Peter, not that it mattered. He was talking about how to get under the porch with the dog. And you say, not that it mattered. This is what I loved. He wasn't turning away from the challenge. He was just planning how to succeed. So I just thought that I like, yes, I get that. That's I loved that, is what I'm saying.
Well, and this is a very kind of military culture thing too, right? Where there's a lot of discussion about, because, that, especially in combat, right? That is a hard job, and you really have to find that mindset to, there's the, sort of the classic Marine Corps saying, which is adapt and overcome. That's one of their mottos, and that's how I try to think about life, and that's something I've actually learned from researching these characters, is sort of trying to incorporate that mindset into myself a little more strongly.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Absolutely wonderful. Well, Jack, I don't know if you have any more. We don't want to take up. I'm sure Nick has writing to do.
Once we got the peanut butter thing settled, I'm in good shape.
That really pretty much covered.
I was like, yes, this guy's cool. Okay.
Dotted his I's and crossed his T's.
Have you ever had Smucker's crunchy peanut butter?
I have become a natural peanut butter person.
That is a natural.
So Trader Joe's is just peanuts, and that's pretty much it. So that's kind of my. The older I get, the less sort of weird stuff I'm trying to eat.
Take it, Smucker's natural crunchy peanut butter.
Okay. That's your go-to.
That is my absolute go-to. It goes in everything.
Alarmingly, the older I get, the more weird stuff I seem to be introducing to my body. But that's for a different podcast.
Well, it's good to know we're really diving deeply into substance.
It's what we do. We're a library after all.
A sticky, delicious substance.
Absolutely. Thursday, October 9th at the Cedarburg Cultural Center. You too get to pick Nick Petrie's brain. So, if you don't have a copy already, the Drifter is hanging out multiple copies here to check out at our library, and presumably, Nick, you'll bring copies of.
Yeah, we will have Boswell books there with the whole collection. So if you want to get caught up,
excellent.
Or get started.
Do you have time for just one more quick one?
Oh, here we go.
I'm sorry, Nick. I bought the Audible version of your book. How did you choose the narrator or how did you do that?
I didn't.
Okay.
They sent me 3 audio clips and said, which one would you like? And I picked this guy, and then they made it with somebody else.
Oh.
And that's who it's been all along. And he gets great reviews. People really like him. I hope you like him.
Yeah, I do. I thought it was great. Yeah.
I can't listen to it because when I read, it's my voice I hear in my head. So and I've heard this from other writers, that it's sort of an unsettling thing.
Yeah.
To hear somebody else reading your stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you like him.
I do. I think he has the right amount of scratch in his. If that makes sense. He's got enough scratch enough in his voice.
He's not a newborn, right? Peter has been places and he has seen things, and you need somebody who reflects that.
Yep.
Boy, these big media conglomerates, check with the writer, see who he likes, and then we'll go with someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
I am just a little cog in a very big machine. I think of myself as a movie starlet with a very small part in a hit sitcom, and my job is to show up on time and to hit my marks. And if I do it, if I do it well, I get to do it again, and that's pretty much.
I think by book 15, you should get your own trailer. For the best. Nick, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. We really appreciate it. We're so excited to have you here next week. And the Drifter's great and wonderful. And best of luck with your sentences and predicates this afternoon.
I appreciate it. Nice to meet you both. And thanks for lightening up my day a little.
Well, it's what we do here in Cedarburg.